Okay, hello everybody. We're going to do a sicha, one of the last sichas the Rebbe ever gave. This is from Tufshin and Beis from 1992 in Shvat, Parshas Bo. This was the last Parshas Bo that the Rebbe ever gave over sichas. This was the year that I'm not sure when the stroke was.
Well, he passed away in '94.
But he had a stroke. 2 years he was not speaking.
Right.
So this was one of the last public talks that he gave. It was the last Parshas Bo sicha that he gave. And basically he says, and this characterizes a lot of sichos of this year and the year previous to this, where he really says very full-throatedly that the time of the Geula is now, and everything's finished, and there's no reason, we have no idea why it's not here right now, because everything that is necessary to prepare for the coming of the Geula has been completed. And
So when you say Geula, what do you mean? What is Geula?
redemption. Yeah, so...
See, I don't speak Hebrew. That's
okay. So you stop me. Good. Stop me whenever there's a word that I say that's not... I appreciate that. So this is no exception. So he starts out explaining what is this. First of all, he learns that Parshas Bo is really the beginning of the Geula. This is really the beginning of the Geula. Shmos and Vayera were more the preparations and things kind of getting underway, but this is actually the parsha that we leave. Mitzrayim, right? This is the parsha of the last Makos, where we're actually take off and leave Mitzrayim. So this is really the beginning of the Geula, this parsha, and this parsha begins. So everything. So let's just read what he says. This command to Moshe, Bo el Paro, come to Paro. This is the beginning and the name of the parsha that speaks about Geula of Klal Yisrael in actuality from Yetzias Mitzrayim. Okay, this is the parsha where it says, "Vayi betzem hayom hazeh yatzu kol tzvos Hashem me'eretz Mitzrayim." This is the day where all of the legions of Hashem left Mitzrayim. Hashem took to Bnei Yisrael from Eretz Mitzrayim. So Mikevan shekol parshas Yetzias Mitzrayim nikras Hashem boel paroi. So if this is the parsha of Yetzias Mitzrayim, this is really the parsha where we came out of Mitzrayim, where we were finally led out of Mitzrayim and rescued from Mitzrayim. Then there's something that Bo el Paro, come to Paro, is connected to the Gulas Mitzrayim. Okay? And more than this, that we know that the Yetzias Mitzrayim was just the opening of the pipe for all future redemptions, including the final redemption after which there will be no possibility for any more suffering, any more exile, right? We were redeemed from Egypt, but we went into exile again and again and again, right? We were redeemed from Egypt, but it wasn't a complete redemption. They say that had the Jews stayed in Egypt for the full term, if we would have been able to handle that, which we weren't able to handle that, but if we would have been able to handle the full term, we would have wiped out all exile necessary, and the redemption we would have had would have been a complete redemption. But it wasn't. It was just the beginning. It was the opening play. It was Act 1 it was the birth of Klal Yisrael. It was redemption. Now we are waiting for the final redemption. And the final redemption will be just like Yetzias Mitzrayim. So when we look at Yetzias Mitzrayim, we know that Yetzias Mitzrayim is like an example. It's like a template. There's a template of Yetzias Mitzrayim. It's right on the table. The template of Yetzias Mitzrayim, and so Bo el Paro is the beginning of the redemption process. Right. This parsha is when the redemption happens. And this parsha, so this is the beginning of the redemption, of the actual redemption coming to fruition. And how does the redemption start? How does Geula start? Come to Paro. Now, he says we have to understand, because it seems a little upside down, because coming to Paro as the introduction to the beginning of redemption seems the opposite, because Boel Paro sounds like Paro is in his full glory. Come to Paro, like a come to Yashka moment, where so it sounds like this come to Paro. Paro is holding by his former glory, by his original glory, by his original power. And you need to come to him, and you need to request from him, and you need something from him. That's the opposite of the redemption of Egypt, right? The redemption of Egypt is when Paro is done. He's nullified. His power is over, and there's total victory over him. And through there we come out of Mitzrayim. So why would the introduction to redemption start with "Come to Paro"?
Can I give you an answer that I have?
Okay.
And the Rebbe speaking, come to Paro always says to me that Hashem is there. When you say come to somebody, he's there already. So that it says come to Paro. God's telling Moshe, says, I'm here with him. I'm telling you, come to Paro. I'm with Paro already. I'm ruling the whole thing. I'm telling you to come to Paro. And so I got power in my hand. And I'm saying to you, come, like, if I say, come to me, I don't say go to me. Say, come to me, that Hashem said, right, to Moshe, right, come to Paro, I'm here. Now I'm going to give you your battle orders, your fighting orders, your marching orders. And that's why he used the word come rather than go.
Mm-hmm. So that's very nice. I think that what the question is not necessarily the come to Paro, but even if it said go to Paro, it's kind of like, this is the introduction of Geula, having to interact with Paro in his house, in his throne room, like as if Paro still has like power, and
well,
so that's
at that point he does. He's the leader of the whole.
Well, it should be much more degraded. It should be much more degraded. If we're talking about the introduction to Geula, then that should be with Paro knocked down a few notches.
Well, you're talking about the very beginning of the process.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about at the very end of the process, the very beginning of the actual leaving Egypt.
Are you talking about it before the plagues or after?
This is in the middle. This is after the 7th. We're in the 8th, 9th, 10th plague, this Parsha. So Paro should be knocked down a few notches. The fact that Paro is still come to Paro, go to Paro, whatever to Paro, that Paro is still a man d'Omer, that he's still, it sounds like he's still in position.
No, he's still in power. He's still enslaving the Jews.
Well, the Jews aren't really enslaved. We're just there. They're not working. And somebody pointed out that really, what was this final year? However long the plagues took, what was this final year? It was a lot of family time. The Jews were getting reacquainted with their families, because during the time of servitude, they weren't living at home necessarily. There was no real family structure. Women were out working, men were out working, the kids were not, there was no real normal family structure.
What were the women doing during the plagues?
No, during the plagues, everyone was home. No one was out. Everyone was home.
Okay, so before the plagues, what were the women doing?
They were doing hard work.
Were they doing the same thing as the men?
They were doing men's work, yeah. That's what it says, avodas parach. Avodas parach, this difficult labor, was that the women were doing men's work and men were doing women's work. That's what the pshat of that terrible labor was, that they were given the wrong work for them. So again, the question still is, why does it sound like the beginning, the introduction to leaving Egypt, which is really the complete nullification of Paro, begins with Boel Paro, as if Paro is still in his full stance. Okay. Yesh Loimar, so let's say that the explanation is like this, according to what is known, that everything that exists in the world, even those that are the opposite of good and holy. Okay, you see the Rebbe here didn't like to say bad words. He didn't like to say negative words. So he'd say the opposite of good, the opposite of holiness. He wouldn't say bad. He wouldn't say, impure. He would say the opposite of good. Okay, that was a very something that characterized the Rebbe's speech. And so even things that are the opposite of good, so everything in the world, even if it's the opposite of good and holiness, their root is above. Their root is above in holiness. Okay? V'zehu amiti sa'inyan. That's the real root of everything. The root of everything is really above. Nothing, there's no other power, there's no other, you make a chemical reaction by adding different ingredients, right? So there's no ingredient here that's bad. The only ingredients that are put into the combination here called our universe was godliness. So that there is very opposite of good and opposite of holiness that exists in the world, its original root is godliness. Okay? It's just after many the refractions and the constrictions of that light for our world, in our lowest world here, they come out looking the opposite of godly. Okay? But everything, without exception, that exists in our world is rooted in godly light.
Well, because he created everything. Yeah, that's the reason, right?
Yeah.
So
There's nothing else. Nothing else created it.
Right.
So it's only because it had to be kind of deformed and constricted so that we can live in a world. What does it mean that our world is the lowest world? Right? We live in the lowest world. What does that mean, the lowest world? Our world hangs in a balance, okay? Being the lowest world. Why is it the lowest world? Why couldn't it have been a little higher? And why couldn't it be any lower? Why is our world the lowest world? Because we're talking about it, God puts his light into this tzimtzum, he's mitzamtzem, he contracts his light, through the spheros and all these worlds and everything like this. So it gets to a place where we can exist. And if we were any higher on that chain of refractions and restrictions and contractions of that light, it would be too obvious that the godliness is all there is. Okay?
Well, and we couldn't have free will.
We wouldn't have free will.
Yes.
We wouldn't have free will. So that's why our world can't be any higher.
Right.
Because any higher would be too much of a revelation of godliness that would inhibit our free will from being able to have a chance. We would just see God, it would just be so obvious, there would be no free will, okay? Or our free will be severely restricted. Now, what about a lower world? Why can't there be a lower world? Because any world lower than this world, it wouldn't even be possible to get connected to God. Okay. Like we would be lost. We wouldn't even have a mean. So we're in this very fine precision lowest world where it's low enough that our free will is still engaged and God is not obvious at all, okay? And we need a leap of faith or whatever it is. We need to tap into our own emunah, to harness the power. But it's not far down enough that we can't do that. We have that ability.
But there's lower aspects of this world, lower than man, of course. We got the animals, which are a lower class or aspect.
Well, when you talk about lower class things, like there's domem, there's the mineral class,
yes.
There's the plant class, there's the animal class, and there's the human class. Right. So when we talk about those lower classes, they're not necessarily lower in like they're less godly. In fact, they may be more aware of godliness. Like the mineral world. Why is the mineral world? What's domem? Domem is the name of the mineral world. Domem is inanimate, okay? So rocks and minerals, those are inanimate. Dirt, that is inanimate. It's domem. The word domem means dome, quiet, silent. There's almost like such a, in a certain sense, paradoxically, even though they're very, what do we want to say? Not premature.
They don't have free will.
They don't have free will, no.
Okay, so
they don't have free will. Animals don't have free will because they are more almost like receptive to God's light. They are in this experience of godliness that they're just still. So it's not that they're lower in that they're farther away from godliness necessarily. Where is the lowest place? This is a good question. So you brought up maybe things without free will are lower down on the rung. No. Where is the lowest place in the world? Where is the lowest place in the world?
It is the lowest.
So, but what is the not in
Physical way.
not in a physical, but what is the lowest place? What is the place farthest away from God, so to speak, in this world? It's in the mind of man. The mind, the heart of man. The Yetzer Hara. The Yetzer Hara, right? That we can deny God, that we can rebel against God, that we can say God doesn't exist. That is the farthest place away from God. Now, who represents that place? If there would be a person to represent that farthest place away from God and godliness, the lowest place of this lowest world, right? It's still in the arena, it's still in the playing field. There's still a possibility to get to God, because otherwise that would just be unjust, right? So there's still a possibility, but it's the most denying against what historical figure represents that lowest place, that lowest
Someone
place?
who denies Hashem.
How about, have you heard of Paro? Paro.
Okay.
Paro is this. Paro is the lowest place. So now if we've learned
He
anything,
never denied Hashem.
he said, Mi Hashem.
With
Mi Hashem, then you have to listen to him. What are you talking about? I mean that he's done a great job of denying Hashem without denying Hashem.
He said, I never heard of your God.
Yeah, who is this? Who is this? Now what, he never heard of the God. So what, he didn't hear of the God. So what, there are tons of gods. What's the problem? Because what he did not hear of, he didn't hear of this God that is outside of the world. That is what he could not fathom.
Because he couldn't see him, he couldn't touch him, so it didn't matter to him.
I think it's a little bit more than that. It's not just the seeing or touching, is that the quality of Yud Kei Vav Kei, the quality of Havaya, the quality of Hashem that we're talking about is not just, they had tons of gods, all kinds of gods, Jews stimmed a lot better throughout history with polytheists than with monotheists, right? It was the Christians and the Muslims give us a hard time, but polytheists, the Jews who lived in India, it's cool. You got your gods, we have our God, like they were cool. Like, okay, we can put your God along with ours, but don't think that your God is somehow bigger than all of them, that he somehow transcends the world. No. This is what Paro could not understand. Paro could not get, he was this ultimate narcissist, selfish, like he himself thought he was a god. What, he wasn't okay with other gods? He wasn't a polytheist? He wasn't a monotheist. So if he thought he was a god, what, he was against all of the gods? No, he wasn't against all of the gods. But that there should be a God that's beyond the entire world, that's greater than the entire world, that the entire world does not have any effect on him, that he's something greater than that. No, Paro could not hear such a thing, could not conceive of such a thing. So Paro is this lowest. He reflects this greatest place farthest away from Hashem. So if Paro is the farthest away from Hashem, anti-Kedusha, so that, what does that mean about if on the side of his root up in Kedusha, right? We said that everything that exists in the world that's not good really finds its place in Kedusha. It's all coming from godliness. So where would we expect the lowest of the low in this world, Paro? Where in Kedusha, where in godliness would we expect the source of that to be? High or low? You get what I'm saying?
You say where? You talk about
Like if okay, so there's like godliness comes in the world and it's so manipulated and refracted and restricted and condensed and deformed that it comes out looking bad. So but on the flip side, it really was good. And to the degree that it was good, it can come out looking the opposite of good when it comes through all of these tzimtzumim. So if that's the case, how good does something have to be that it comes out looking the worst? You get what I'm saying?
No.
Okay, so maybe it doesn't follow logically, but that's what Hasidus teaches over and over again. That really the lowest place, Hashem wants, right? We know that Hashem wants a dwelling in the lowest world. So he wants it in the lowest place of the lowest world. In the lowest place of the lowest world, that is only the highest light can get there. Only the highest light can reach down that far. That's just a principle in Hasidus. That's a principle by Kabbalah, right? We say when like we talk about when a wall falls down, the highest bricks of that wall fall the farthest. So when there's this breaking, when Hashem created the world and there was this primordial breaking of the vessels and there was like a breaking, so the highest, if you think of it of a wall falling down, the highest bricks went the farthest away. So the farthest, deepest, darkest muck of anti-God holds the highest essence of God. Okay? The Rebbe brings a Zohar. The Rebbe brings a Zohar about this parsha of coming, where Hashem says, a special command to Moshe, come to Paro. A special command, come to Paro. Because what happens? Moshe was very scared. Paro was he's this great alligator, this great snake, and he said, come to Paro. Why? Not that I'm with Paro, but I'll be with you. I'll be with you. And the Zohar says they went from room to room, and every chamber to chamber, and he took Moshe closer and closer because Moshe was so scared. He was so afraid. What was he so afraid of? What was he so afraid of? So we know on the side of not Kedusha, okay, you're afraid or it's scary. But if we know that this Paro that he's going to see really was the highest of the high, was really the godliness, his essence in a certain sense, hidden in Paro, the lowest element in the world, what was he so afraid of? You know that this is just the highlight. You know this is just the highest of the highlight. So the Zohar says that Moshe was afraid, and that's why he says, come to Paro, I'll be with you. I'll be with you. Because the Paro of Kedusha, meaning the Paro where he comes from in the source where Hashem devised Paro. Hashem created this Paro before it came down and trickled down to get to the lowest of the low. Where did it come from? It was the highest of the height of godliness. It was both in the manner, in the quantity of the revelation of godliness. It was the revelation of all godliness, all light. It was like the highest element there. And it was also the way that the godliness is revealed. It was in a way that it was revealed without any limit. So Paro, and he brings another Zohar, which discusses the word Paro from the word ispriu, which means a revelation that's so overwhelming, revealed. It's without any limit. It's the revelation of infinitude within finite. That is the essence, okay? Hold on, let's just hold on with me. Okay, so we're saying that Paro is Hashem hid his most essential source light. That light which both defies limit and is encapsulated in limit. Beyond understanding, okay? It's both defies limit, it's infinite, but is contained within limit. This is Atzmas Hashem. This is Hashem's essence. Only Hashem's essence can hold such paradox. Okay? The paradox of infinity being contained within finiteness, that is something that only God himself can sustain, can maintain, can hold.
Okay.
And that's where Paro is. That's what Paro is. Paro is hiding that. It's underneath Paro. Where do you want this great light? You want this great light? You want the purpose of the world to be revealed? Come to Paro. Come to Paro. Paro is sitting on this. Paro is the cover of it. It's like, imagine, the Super Mario Brothers, right? Super Mario Brothers, they go to fight the dragon to save the princess, okay? The princess is behind the dragon. You got to go to the dragon, you got to slay the dragon, and you can rescue the princess. That is what this is. Moshe's freaked out because, says the Zohar, Moshe's scared. He's this great dragon. You could translate it as dragon.
No,
Crocodile.
Who?
He's
Does he
a
know
firing
he has this-
crocodile.
Okay.
Does he know he has this?
No, he's totally self-absorbed. He thinks he's God. He embodies the denial and the self, that there is totally other. There is totally other. You know what the definition of idolatry is? The definition of idolatry is, according to Chassidus, according to Tanya, the definition of idolatry is thinking that when Hashem created the world is now something in and of itself. That's idolatry. There was Hashem, and then once he created the world, there's Hashem and the world. No, that's idolatry. That's idolatry. Even once Hashem created the world, there's just Hashem. There's just Hashem. There is no. It's like he speaks creation, but not like we speak Not like we speak that spoken word go out and you can be damaged by something you said and your reputation and the word is out there and you can't bring it back. It's like a word before it's spoken. That's Hashem creating the world. There's no separate reality called the world separate from Hashem that has its own rules. There is just Hashem. And thinking that there's something else other than Hashem is idolatry.
Yeah, the world is an extension of Hashem, which means it's part of Hashem. It's an extension. He created it, so that's how it works. And if you deny Him,
Okay, it's a subtle point, and when we start saying other words like it's an extension of Him, we're kind of softening it. Okay? There is no extension. There is nothing else. It's not a creation. There's a creation, but there's nothing, we can't understand it, but there is no change. It's not like I create a pot, and now there's a pot. There's me and there's a pot. No. It's the energy that is required to create this world is constantly necessary. It's like if you're daydreaming, okay? You're daydreaming. And you're daydreaming and you have a very good imagination. You're daydreaming about a whole island and people and a whole civilization. As soon as you stop thinking about it, that image goes away. So do you say that image is an extension of you? It's not really an extension of you. It's happening within you completely. It's not a separate creation. So to think of the world and us as this independent, separate creation, extension, whatever it is, that kind of exists independently is idolatry. It's idolatry. The reality is that our whole world, everything we know, is existing within Hashem's mind, so to speak, just like a daydream. That as soon as you stop thinking it, as soon as you stop giving the energy, it dissolves because it wasn't really so much of an existence anyway. And so our world is Hashem. He has to constantly be pushing on the gas. He has to constantly be thinking and speaking our world.
He's involved with us every day, right? So that's
to such an extent that his involvement is the actual manifestation. It's not like he did it 6,000 years ago and now we're still enjoying.
It's what sustains us.
It's completely part of. Okay? So it's a new twist on idolatry. Maybe that's a whole shiur in and of itself.
That's not Chassidus, that's being Jewish. That's being B'nai Yisrael. The Chassidus stuff is crazy. Chassidus, everybody holds that. It made you a slant on it. This God.
Really?
God lives in the world lives in God, whatever way you want to say it. I just want to make that clear.
All right. Well, I think that
Like you said, it's nothing else.
I think if you stopped a random yid on the street, if you stopped a random person on the street and said, "What's idolatry?" You'd say worshiping other gods. That thinking what I don't know what they think that this person has power or that this can help me. I'm not sure. Okay, so anyway, okay, good. If that's how we all have been thinking. Good. It's something that I constantly need to review because it's not intuitive to me.
Everybody has to review that. I agree.
Yeah.
I affirm.
So Moshe was not just scared because there was this big dragon that he had to slay in order to save the princess. Okay, the princess being the ultimate essence of godliness in the world. Okay.
Adolf in Germany also is in the same box, right? Very similar. He was definitely an agent. He was definitely an agent of this Paro, but we also have a Paro inside of us. We have a Paro inside of us. That's who we should be most interested in. The Paro that is in us. The Paro that thinks that the world just goes and that there's cause and effect and that I have to play by the rules of society and society tells me what's you need to do this to get this and this is important and I need to prove myself, I need to make my mark, I need to Hashem gave it to me to figure out what I have to do and make my mark in the world and do my thing. This is a paro. So but Moshe was not just scared because this is very threatening, scary. He was worried because he felt that the lights that were revealed behind Paro, that are going to be revealed through the overtaking of Paro, were too much. That it was going to kill him. After all, he's a human being in a physical body, a neshama in a body, and to expose this revelation of Paro, this limitless infinity, he thought it would have vaporized him. Breaking of the Kli.
Yeah, he didn't think he was. And what did he say? What did he say?
Hashem said, "I'll go with you."
I'll go with you. Yeah. How did Moshe Rabbeinu express? How did he express his fear of this? That these lights were too big for him to be able to access or expose. It would vaporize him. He said, "I can't speak. I can't speak. I don't have the words. I'm kavod pei. I'm aral sasayim. I can't talk." What is he saying? Moshe Rabbeinu was from a place, his neshama was from a place where what his mind understood, he could not articulate. He could not articulate. He did not have the vessels to articulate what lights he understood. He could not articulate them. And so going to Paro, with all of these amazing lights that stood behind him, that he was sitting on top of, basically, this volcano of revelation, he's like, whoa, I can't do that. I'm going to be vaporized. Hashem says, I'll go with you. Not because of evil, but because of good, because of light. So Hashem says, I'll go with you. And that Moshe spoke by a miracle. When Moshe spoke, he opened his mouth, he spoke clearly by a miracle.
You mean to
Paro. Also Aaron spoke, but also Moshe spoke through a miracle. And he was able to speak. And and this is what Hashem is saying. I'm going to go with you. I'm going to, even though you're a neshama in a goof, you're a soul in a body, I'm going to go with you and I'm going to allow this revelation to occur. To be tolerated, to be experienced. Okay? That even a physical being, a neshama, a soul in a body, physical being can experience this revelation which goes beyond. It's like shining an infinitely bright light. I mean, in your eyes and being able to see it. To look at the sun for an hour and just be able to see that. How I can't do that. I can't just look at the sun. I'm going to go blind. No. I'm going to be with you. I'm going to be with you. I'm going to be with your mouth, and we'll be able to bring down this revelation in a way. And what makes that revelation possible that he's not vaporized? Atzmos, the essence of God. God's essence. The one that is beyond name. The one that is beyond name, not Yud Kei Vav Kei, no name. The ultimate godliness that cannot be named, that has no definition. That has no, it's under Paro. The essence of Hashem is under Paro. That's where it is. And when we unlock that Paro, we've unlocked the essence of God. And when we unlock the essence of God, that essence of God is the ability to fuse infinity and finity together. That's something that happened once during history. When did that happen? At Matan Torah. It happened at Matan Torah. Matan Torah, and who survived Matan Torah? What? No, they didn't. They died. Only Moshe survived. Only Moshe survived Matan Torah. The rest of the children of Israel were killed. They couldn't handle it. They weren't able to handle it. They didn't go through what Moshe went through. Moshe went through. This is why Bo El Paro is the introduction to Geula. Because the whole reason we came out of Yetzias Mitzrayim, was to get the Torah. The whole reason we were getting the Torah was so that we could start fixing the wiring, right? We talked about the wiring. We want to fix the wiring. We want to strengthen the wiring so that this godliness, this essence, the source essence of godliness, Atzmos, can channel through the world. This infinity can be channeled in infinity. You need better wiring. What strengthens the wiring of the world to allow this revelation to be in the world? Torah and mitzvahs. Learning Torah and doing mitzvahs, which are by themselves without gvul. They're infinite. Mitzvahs and Torah are infinite, but yet they are in finite categories. Tefillin is a finite thing. The Torah is a finite book. Mitzvahs, right? The whole Gemara is learning about what is the gvul, what is the border and boundary and definition of every single mitzvah. So even though Torah and mitzvahs are infinite, they come from beyond the world, beyond finitude, they're very finite. They have very finite definitions. This mitzvah starts here and ends here, That is very boundaried. So the Torah itself is giving us this power to, with this intersection of finitude and infinity merging, to strengthen the wires, strengthen the wiring, so that when the final Geula comes, Hashem will be able to bring the Geula, and this Matan Torah experience will be able to happen again, but that we will be able to survive. That we will be able to survive and live with godliness in its highest revelation, completely surpassing any boundary. There's no wattage. It's infinite wattage. Able to be coursing through the veins and the wires of the world that Am Yisrael has arranged over the last 3,000 years of doing Torah and mitzvahs. We had the introduction of that work, of that story, Act 1, was Yetzias Mitzrayim and getting the Torah. Yetzias Mitzrayim, getting the Torah, that was Act 1. Now we've gone through this entire history. Everything's finished. Everything's ready. All the wiring is there. And we're ready for Geula. What's left?
As a whole.
Yes, as a whole. Not just Moshe.
Yeah, as a whole. That's the key, as a whole, right?
So what's left? What's the introduction to Geula? Bo El Paro. You got to come to Paro. Got to come to Paro. We got to come to those parts of ourselves, our body, our ego, We have to go to those places we don't want to go.
Oh, very nice. No, stille geduld for today. Really, it's good.
That is the introduction to Geula. The introduction to Geula is to use what happened before Metzias Yisrael. Speech was in exile, right? We say Pesach, the mouth speaks, because Pesach was the redemption of the Jewish people from Egypt. It was also the redemption of speech. Speech was in exile. It was in exile, and it wasn't fully redeemed until Matan Torah. Then even Moshe's speech impediment was completely healed at Matan Torah. Okay, all the Jews were healed, and including Moshe's speech impediment was all healed at Matan Torah. So now speech is our tool. It's our tool to come to Paro. We need Hashem. We need to go with Hashem. But we need.
That's a good one.
We need.
They're all good.
I've never heard it before. Where'd you find that? Where did you read that? That's a good one. I've never heard that.
Yeah. Believe me, there's a lot more. There's a lot more you and I both don't know. A lot of good ones. We have yet to discover. And so this is. We need to, what do we need to speak? What do we need to say to ourselves? What do we need to say? What is this paro that we need to speak to ourselves about? And I think that it's, what he says here, Hamavar mimatzav shel pirud bein alyonim v'tachtonim. Because what happened? Matan Torah created this ability to unite infinity together. And it all started with Boel Paro. Come to Paro. Come to this place that looks the farthest away from godliness possible. Okay? Some terrible trauma. Some character defect. Some whatever it is that seems the farthest away from godliness in my life. What's the farthest place away from godliness? What's the most denying, thinking that there's another power, thinking that God can't help here? He's no...
Safek. Safek. Where does Safek come from? Safek.
Safek is the same gematria as
What?
Amalek.
Oh, very good.
Amalek is the gematria of Safek.
This ties everything together.
So it's okay, good.
Yeah.
So that we need to speak and we need to say, Hashem, you're here. Hashem, you're here too. Even the worst things in the world, the worst trauma, the worst Holocaust, the worst da-da-da-da-da. Hashem, you're here. And even though I don't understand why this is good, I know you're here and there's something good here. There's something good here too. And that's something that when we just think those thoughts, if we allow ourselves to think those thoughts, it's like dropping a food coloring drop in the ocean. It makes no difference.
Yeah.
But when we speak it, when we speak those words of truth, when we speak to ourselves and say, I know Hashem, you're here. I know Hashem can help me here. I know that this is from Hashem. This is by Hashem. There's nothing else going on here. There's no other power here but Hashem. Even in this thing, even in this trauma, this person did something terrible to me, or I did something terrible to this person. Hashem is here. Hashem is here. And to speak it and to have those words go in our ears can affect our hearts and can change us. And that is the beginning of Geula. Beginning of Geula, you have to go to Paro. You have to go to the Paro with Hashem. Go and speak. And even though you may not feel like you have the words or even know what words to say, you have to ask Hashem for help. Come with me. Come with me to this place where I feel unworthy. I feel unworthy. Where I feel this is so anti-Hashem. This is underneath there that God's essence lives. He has to penetrate every single layer. Every single layer. So, it's very nice. just stay in the upper layers. I'll just stay in the upper layers. Everything's good. Oh, I'll just do a mitzvah. Okay, I daven today. Okay, I'll give a little tzedakah. Okay, it's all for the best. Meanwhile, there is this alligator dragon that I am just spiritualizing, ignoring, pretending doesn't exist. Godliness, the real deal is hiding under there. And it will hide under there until I go and talk to it. Until I go and face it with Hashem's help, knowing that it's all from Hashem. Then that is what gives Hashem the ability to penetrate every single level. So the lowest level in this world is here. This is where the lowest level is. We have to come to this. Wherever it is that's so low, that's so far from, that's so denying God, or that God can help, or that whatever it is for anybody, that's what we have to come to. That is the beginning of Geula. That is the beginning of Geula. To go there. It's not despite, it'll just take care of itself, or Mashiach will come and he'll take care of it. No. He did that already. Moshe did the work. He did the heavy lifting. He went, Hashem took him room by room, chamber by chamber. Now we have to go room by room by room. Oh, I thought I got this whole dragon. I thought I slayed this dragon. No, there's another room. There's another part. There's another. It goes deeper. It goes deeper. It goes deeper. Okay, it doesn't go on forever, right? But that is the work that we must engage in to be fully alive and to be fully tapped in to God's essence. He's underneath the crap. That's where he is. Because if he's not underneath there, then how is it going to get redeemed? We're called ikvisa de Mashiach. We're called the ankles, the heels. What's the heels in the body? When you push up on the heels, the whole body goes up. When you get underneath, and you lift up from there, everything goes up.
When the tide comes in, all the boats rise. It's true.
Okay, we're mixing metaphors over here.
But I mean, it's the same idea. You're saying heels, but I'm just saying.
No, but I'm saying I could straighten my head. Okay, I can get my head an inch higher. But good. So I got my head a little higher. Got my head a little higher. Get my shoulders a little higher. What does that do for my feet? Nothing. My feet are still on the floor in the mud. But if I can get under my heel and lift up my heel, I lift up the whole package. Lift up the whole thing. That's why we're ikvisa de Mashiach. We're the heels. Because when we lift up, we're here. This is our work. Hashem is telling us, go to Paro. Come to Paro. Come. Because I'm there. I'm there. That you want to find the Rabbanu Shalom really? I'm there. Underneath. Lift me up out of there, and we'll raise the whole thing up. But if you can't go there, then you're missing. Then we're missing. So we need courage. We need courage. We need perseverance. We need siyata d'shmaya and a willingness. And this is where the world of little things is important. That even the smallest movement, the smallest improvement, the smallest move to that direction affects, changes, has power. So we shouldn't think, I can't get there all at once, or all today, or all this. Forget it. Even a small movement. Okay, so we should be blessed with siyata d'shmaya.
What's your source material?